Sofia the First is a story of unwavering kindness in the face of classism. Sure, her world changed overnight, but her morals only strengthened. Sofia even made the people around her better by being a beacon of hope. The few times she strayed, her purple amulet led her back on track. Elena was the one trapped in that amulet, and the overarching lesson in her series is to never give up. Sure, Sofia became a princess overnight, but Elena became parentless overnight. She became a prisoner overnight. Every bit of magic Elena possesses was a result of extreme trauma. And the shit cherry on top of the shit sundae is that there are magical, super powerful creatures surrounding her in every corner, and they are absolutely no help. Bruh. If anything, they mostly hinder her. Welcome back. We're about to re-explore Avalor.
Your video tipping the show. I do.
But lovers, I covered both Sofia the First and Elena of Avalor in lore videos back in 2023, but I've only gotten more thorough since then. So I made a series called Re-Explore, where we take another look at overlooked characters and themes. The biggest difference between these shows is Sofia is overpowered, while Elena's story is way more of an uphill battle that only gets steeper and steeper. From her introduction in the Sofia special, Elena and the Secret of Avalor, a lot is thrown at us. I never broke down this Bckdoor pilot in either of my videos, and so much happens. It all starts with Sofia having a vision of this violent takeover. A king and queen vaporized. Their daughter running from the evil sorceress that just murdered them. And she, of course, has that classic, thick Disney evil green smoke. Sofia wakes up in the middle of her class, disturbed by what she just saw, and she goes to look for answers in the secret library. Avalor's royal wizard, Alcazar, pops out of this book to explain to Sofia exactly what happened, and he even says that Elena sent Sofia that vision. What made Elena pick this specific day? Stir-crazy would be an understatement, because Elena has been trapped in that amulet for 41 years. The old wizard Alcazar searched for someone brave and kind enough to be Elena's hero until he was so weak he used the last of his magic to become a book. See, this is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. In 41 years, this guy couldn't form a team. They had to find one perfect person. It's no wonder that when Elena escaped, she'd have to be the one to take care of everything. The royal wizard's job is to protect the royal family. Say what you will about Cedric, but even with his betrayal, he undoubtedly did more to protect Sofia and her family than this old fart did. And it's so easy to overlook because Alcazar is so nice, but he worked harder, not smarter. How many people did Elena test in that amulet in 41 years? Did any of them even make it to Avalor? I guess the risk of the amulet being taken was too great, but I don't know. This says a lot about Elena's persistence, dude. I would have cracked after 41 years. Hell, I would have given up after a few months. Were all of the princesses being tested this young? What is the criteria for a perfect hero?
I needed someone young enough to get close to Shariki without making her suspicious, but brave and clever enough to get me out.
You know what? That makes sense. It's still super sad that after 4 decades, quadruple her own age, Elena still had to be the one to train who would eventually free her. I will say, I do like that they established that Enchantia is really far from Avalor. It makes more sense that people would be unaware of a hostile takeover that happened 41 years ago. It doesn't absolve the fairies from Sleeping Beauty from having all the wrong priorities. These powerful beings are running a school for spoiled royals, while the rest of the world is in absolute peril. The rest of Sofia's family sing about vacationing and shopping in Avalor, while Sofia is scared, singing a version of Into the Unknown 3 years before Frozen 2 even came out. Somehow Sofia did not anticipate her family announcing their arrival to Queen Shariki. Sofia, you didn't tell them that she was the bad guy. This is what happens when you don't let anyone know what you're doing or what you know. Sofia entrusts the Jaquins. Jaquins are jaguar macaws. I drew them on my face, and even though they are beautiful, they immediately give Sofia a hard time. The Jaquins provoke Shariki by stealing food, and when Shariki tries to use her magic on these iconic iconic symbols of Avalor, Esteban subtly discourages it by placing his hand on her hip and moving the wand back into the holster.
Hey, yo!
Guys, I have to ask. They're most definitely porking, right? Back to the Jaquins. They keep hope alive in the Avalorans by singing. Music is outlawed under Shiriki, but they protest because she has a harder time ruling over them. Music is a start, but they can fly, and they aren't helping people flee? Even after Sofia explains that she can bring Princess Elena back, they are insulted that she wants to fly on their backs. I understand that they aren't Pegasuses, they aren't domesticated, it would be insulting under normal circumstances, but this child is fighting for your kingdom more than you are. They do scare the guards away by flying at them. Boo! We're so powerful. Nothing can stop us. Why don't you try overthrowing the dictator then? You didn't let us finish our sentence. Nothing can stop us from singing. So the Jaquins take her to the book wizard Alcazar's old house. Sofia has to go there to summon his Chanul, which is his spirit guide. We meet the former sorcerer's grandson, Matteo, who has practiced magic in secret. But once Zuzo, the fox spirit guide, is summoned, all he can do is tell Sofia what to do. So here are my questions. Why couldn't Alcazar summon his own Chanul? Once you cross an invisible border, does spirit magic not work anymore? At the very least, if the spirit is tethered to this old house, the least Alcazar could have done is tell Sofia the spell to summon him. But no, he didn't do that either. Magic is outlawed, and this old wizard just hoped she'd bump into someone who could figure it out. Zuzo the spirit guide tells Sofia and Matteo to wrap the amulet around Shiriki's wand and put both of them on the crown of Azaluna. I completely forgot about this, and I gasped that the first mention of Maruvians was this early in the Bckdoor pilot. We'll discuss more about this ancient civilization later, but much of the magic in this series is from Maru. Sofia is very stressed. Who wouldn't be? And Zuzo says this.
Just because you're the one doesn't mean you're the only one.
The advice to lean on people is very amusing given what I'm here to prove, that being that not enough people are helping. I mean, this is such a wild goose chase. The royal wizard didn't know how to break Elena out. He needed his spirit guide that he couldn't summon for whatever reason, and he also couldn't tell Sofia the spell to summon the Chanul. Absurd. If I'm gonna defend anyone here, it's Zuzo, the spirit guide, because it's obvious he understood what an important role Matteo has to play in this story. Even in Matteo's future simping shitheadedness, I cannot deny that this lanky lad is probably the biggest help to Elena throughout the series. Except when he was partially responsible for her parents' murderer being revived.
Flashback.
Was it worth it, Matteo? Was a little kiss worth it? We actually never kissed. Aw, Matteo didn't get a little smoochy smooch. You're fired! Don't ever talk to me again! Jeez, Elena, don't you think you're being a little harsh?
I wish you died instead of my parents!
What the hell was even that? Maybe you should watch my first Elena of Avalor video, but back to the Bckdoor pilot movie. Zuzo seems antsy to leave. He doesn't give Sofia enough time for her to ask any more questions. If I was Elena watching this go down in the amulet, I would be fuming. I waited 41 years, but you're in a rush? Okay, buddy. Another reason why Sofia is the chosen one is her ability to channel the amulet's magic simply by manifesting. The statue they need to get to is underwater. That's no problem. Sofia wished to be a mermaid. So yeah, she's a mermaid now. It doesn't matter how many times I watch this special. Every time Elena emerges from the amulet, thrilled to be back in her body, singing the song My Time, I will always get chills. One lyric that especially sticks out to me is, I've come too far to be denied. I got goosebumps again. Her perseverance is everything. She struggles a lot more than Sofia, but she just has to keep fighting. Can I sing more of this song, please? Now off I must fly to the palace once more to win back the freedom of all Avalor. I've spent my whole life waiting just for this day. It was hard to stop singing, so I made an entire cover channel just to sing that whole song. You don't have to check it out, okay? I'm just putting it out there. One thing I found really interesting is how adamant Elena was in facing Shiriki alone. I think she has survivor's guilt, even though she honestly barely survived. She also says Sofia has already done so much, which is true, but she has the amulet with all the power, dude. But unlike almost every character in Elena of Avalor, Sofia will help. She will not stand idly by. But Elena was too quick. She had Shiriki's spell echoing in her head, so she thought all she would need is the wand and the words, but the spell didn't work. She was also completely thrown off guard when she saw her grandparents and little sister trapped in the painting Alakazar put them in. Luckily, the Jaquins helped Elena escape when Shiriki was about to strike her. Where were they the day of the invasion? When they retreat to Mateo's house, Sofia assures Elena that she could always ask for help. But now that I think about it, when does Sofia ever ask for help? Take your own advice, girl. Although Sofia probably doesn't trust her family because they have terrible judgment. Roland and Miranda were about to sign a treaty with Shiriki, even though they saw her yelling at all her workers. She outlawed music. She's doing a terrible job of hiding the fact that she's evil. There are a lot of moving parts to take down Shiriki. Mateo freed Elena's family from the portrait, Sofia freed her own family from the dungeon, and once again, the Jaquins are only there to help them escape. These Jaquins are really pissing me off though, because supposedly they lift the human spirits with song, but when the humans need help beyond just emotional, they're bitching and whining.
Since when do people ride Jaquins?
Don't get used to it.
Shut up, Jerry. We get it. You hate helping. You made that very obvious. I sure hope they don't promote you to Chief in the TV show.
Chief Miggs.
Don't get used to it.
Oh, God damn it! In the end, Elena took down Shiriki by breaking her wand. And I completely forgot how Mother Gothel-coded Shiriki is. The moment her wand is snapped in half, she ages and decrepitly throws herself off a bridge. These scenes are almost identical. Headcanon, they're sisters. I also completely forgot that the Avaloran townspeople marched to the castle singing "This is our time." It was powerful. True teamwork at last. All they needed this whole time was to see Elena alive. Listen, it is empowering that it took all the magicless humans working together, but it is just astounding how much magic is introduced throughout the series, only to be stuck on the sidelines for no reason. All this negativity of mine would have been waved away if there was any sort of explanation given. I'll make some up right now. Oh, the Jaquins portal was destroyed by Shiriki, so they were unable to reach the castle. Oh, Zuzo the spirit can only be channeled in Avalor. Any excuse like that would have worked. Give us anything to hold on to so these characters don't seem completely incompetent. Let's go through almost every magical species to break down how they drop the ball.
I look like some kind of magician.
In the first episode, titled The First Day of Rule, Elena discovered she absorbed some of the amulet's magic from being in there so long. So now she can see spirit guides whenever, without the help of a wizard conjuring them. Probably the weakest of her powers, and she finds that out very quickly.
You can get an extra helping of animal spirit wisdom anytime you like! In fact, I'm gonna hit you with some right now. If you don't get downstairs right away, you're gonna be late for breakfast!
That's spirit wisdom?
As I said early on in this video, all of the magic she has is a result of the trauma she endured. In the episode The Scepter of Light, they learned that her royal scepter is actually maruvian, and the magic Elena had left over from the amulet is connected to this, because they both have ancient maruvian magic. Unlike sorcerers who have to study magic, Elena had that choice taken from her. She is magical whether she wants to be or not. She does end up training, and the magic makes her a better ruler and protector, but it was draining at first.
Let everyone know Elena is awake.
Wait, how long have I been asleep?
2 days.
We'll briefly talk about her season 3 power-up in the Maru section, but let's move on to how other humans possess magic. In the episode Spellbound, Mateo is sworn in as Avalor's royal sorcerer, and he is feeling unsure about all of this, so Elena sings him a song essentially saying, "Believe in yourself, I need your help." and it is shippy as shit. I'm tired of being gaslit. This episode proves to us that at this point in the story, good magic and evil magic are not balanced at all. There is way more evil magic. In this episode, we meet Fiyero, who turns all of the partygoers into stone so he can steal this powerful spell book known as the Codex Maru. Malvagos are evil sorcerers, and the strange thing is, in the wiki, this is listed as an occupation. Any Malvagos could change to good wizards, and not only humans can be Malvagos, as seen by the character Zeppelode, who is some sort of bird creature. Any human can train to be a wizard, as seen in the episode Wizard in Training, but like I said, good wizards are completely outnumbered. In fact, even Mateo's pupil, Olivia, is barely seen. In comparison, look how large the Avalore military is, with no magical training. I don't know, I wish I knew why this occupation was so unpopular to the point where even people putting their life on the line to protect Avalore don't consider learning any spells. As much as I think Alakazar dropped the ball, it's pretty wild that there's only one royal sorcerer and a completely magicless military. Look at them firing arrows at a magical opponent. Absolutely useless. Speaking of useless, I was way too lenient on the Jaquins during my first watch through. They are beyond egotistical. In the very first episode, they celebrate being back on the Avalore flag and act like this is just as important as Elena being freed from the amulet. Their reputation is far more favorable than what they deserve.
My sister was taken.
Just when I thought the kingdom was getting safer.
My guy, you are a jaguar with wings. Why don't you help the city be safer instead of waiting for commands all the time? Also, that dude becomes the chief. No! Imagine going up to a police officer and asking for help and they're like, damn, and I thought this city was getting safer too. Shit. Good luck with that. They should be the main ones patrolling, eyes in the sky and all that. And well, technically, that actually is their job. In the episode Flight of the Jaquins, we meet Zephyr, who is apparently the chief of the Jaquins. Huh? This character only makes sense if you haven't seen the Sofia the First Bckdoor pilot for this series. Because if he is the leader, where was he? Why was he not helping take back the kingdom from Shiriki? Why are we just meeting him now? I thought, you know what? Maybe the realm of the Jaquins sent a leader after the series of failures that led to Shiriki taking over. But no, they tell us this organization of Jaquins that look after Avalor has existed for centuries. I kept double checking with the wiki because I was sure I missed something, but all I could find is, however, they couldn't stop Shiriki from taking over 41 years before. They never elaborate if they even tried to help or how Shiriki took them down. Half a second after I read this sentence, it was said by Chief Zephyr.
But we couldn't stop that evil sorceress Shiriki from taking over. And so, every year, 3 young Jaquins come...
They move on so quickly from that. It seems like that would be a pivotal moment for this organization to re-strategize, but they don't mention it beyond that. It would be so easy to dismiss if they didn't keep labeling themselves the Protectors of Avalor. Protectors? I thought you were the spirit of Avalor. I thought you guys just sang to lift the morale of the humans. Now you're the Protectors? For centuries? Did you forget? How did Shiriki win? Did she distract you? Your group is so much bigger than we saw from the pilot. What were the rest of you doing? The home of the Jaquins is a magical land called Viastrea. Why do these creatures even have an attachment to Avalor? Have they been here since Maru?
She bravely led the charge and saved the kingdom from the darkest threat we've ever faced. But as guardians of Avalor, that was supposed to be our job.
Okay. There's some accountability at least. Still vague as fuck. It makes me think they were doing something they don't want to admit while the Shiriki takeover was happening. Yeah, and you know, long story short, it was probably the worst day we could have picked for a makeout party. The 3 Jaquins, training to be protectors of Avalor, have this very difficult test that they all pretty much pass except for Skylar's younger brother, who was sabotaged by some villains. Elena was begging for him to have a second chance, but there's a rule against taking the test again. Crazy that they're enforcing no second chances. If that was the case, you'd all be fired. You failed when it mattered most, if I haven't mentioned it enough. Also, The chief, who runs the organization on Earth, doesn't enforce this rule. The king of Viastrea does. Why would the leader of the realm of Jaquins decide how humans are protected? Huge overreach of power. Elena reasonably wants to talk this out, but no humans are allowed in Viastrea. I'm officially pissed off. You're enforcing rules for how humans are protected, but the humans who are affected by these rules can't discuss them with you?
I do not know how you do things in Avalor.
Yes you do. You're the one who made the rule in Avalor. Why did they even tell him his kid failed? How would he even know if his dumbass rule was broken? The Jaquins' beauty truly blinded me my first watch. I love their designs. I put it on my face. But their personalities and the way they do their job, shit from a butt. That is the nicest way I could put it. Zuzo at least acknowledges that his job is pretty easy.
Giving advice is easy. Taking it is the tough part.
I pointed this out in my first video, but I believe that the royals in Avalor are way more personable and willing to listen because of their guides. So while helping someone introspect may not save them from physical harm, it can save them from mental anguish, giving them a better chance to fight for themselves. I can honestly see where they were going with the Chanuls until the episode The Scepter of Light. The spirit world imprisoned Orizaba, the evil moth fairy that wants to launch them into eternal darkness. But somehow she was able to escape the spirit realm during the solar eclipse. They never explained how she escaped. What happens in the spirit realm during the solar eclipse? A Maruvian wizard was the one who sent Orizaba to the spirit realm in the first place, but who is the one standing guard making sure she doesn't leave? Zuzo didn't even remember it was the eclipse.
Orizaba! Hold up, Orizaba? The moth fairy? Oh, today's the eclipse, isn't it? I knew there was something I was forgetting. Zuzo!
I guess power and magic doesn't necessarily equal intelligence, but his job is to guide others, which seems like it requires thinking. Right? Especially because his advice has nothing to do with premonition. That's the Oracle's job. See, this is why I'm making this video. Every introduction of a new creature weakens one we've already seen.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
In the episode Spirit Monkey Business, we see that the spirit realm is made up of more than just spirit guides. We also see that spirit guides are spread super thin. Zuzo is a spirit guide for multiple people, and his stripes glow when he's needed elsewhere. Like when he needed to stop this kid from eating his brother's cookies again. Look at how exhausted he is. Zuzo doesn't get to talk to them directly, like how he does with wizards. For non-magical folk, he just acts as their conscience. The angel on their shoulder. I do wonder what their success rate is. Do they guide people less when they don't take their advice? Or do they keep trying even if somebody never takes their advice?
No, Gustavo, put the cookies back.
A spirit guide is also an occupation. There is a spirit guide school that not everyone passes. Instead of an angel gaining its wings, a spirit guide gains teleportation stripes. We see this monkey spirit named Bobo, who got kicked out of spirit guide school and came to Earth to prove himself. Bobo is proof that not everyone is deserving of this magic. How did he get to Earth if he doesn't have the spirit guide stripes? Well, he used this magical corn.
Magic spirit.
Sure, whatever you say. And yeah, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but surely you see what I mean now, right? Magic in this series, 99% of the time, is just a source of conflict and chaos. When Elena travels to the spirit realm with Zuzo, we see this spirit realm tunnel. Kaleidoscopic, colorful patterns. Like you are dying. You're seeing the light. You're abstracting. The spirit world is a tree where every branch represents where different spirits go. We have good and bad, self-explanatory, but then we have the ancestors and upper management. So, is good spirits exclusively for magical creatures? Because ancestors seem like they would be good or bad as well, but human afterlife seems to be separate from spirit creatures. Then we have the zanies, neither good nor bad, just chaos, so you know that's where Bobo's going at the end of this episode. And then there's the spirit guide branch, which seems like it would be part of the good branch, but it's completely separate because they have an active job traveling in and out of the spirit realm, which not every creature has the ability to do unless they have the stripes or the corn. Or it's a solar eclipse for Orizaba. Never explained. I'm so surprised I just went with this in my original Elena of Avalor video. I leave no stone unturned now. I take my silly shit seriously. Zuzo raps at us about how not everyone can be a spirit guide, but then we meet Mateo's spirit guide, who's this cowardly sloth. How did he graduate? He sucks so bad.
Mateo is better off without me.
I'm sorry, I agree. Where were you when Mateo was thirsting after an obvious villain? Also, here's another question. Are they assigned to humans randomly? Do they get to pick their humans? We saw them learning morals in school and gaining their stripes, but that's about it. Can a spirit guide get fired? This sloth annoys me beyond belief. If I was Mateo, I would throw a fit. I would request a new one. I don't know how he still has a job, in all honesty. If a guide has to be guided by the very humans they're supposed to guide, it seems like they're not needed. I completely forgot about this rogue Chanul that is kind of like the devil on people's shoulder. He got arrested by Zuzo. So maybe it's not possible to be fired because you could always have redemption if you're just incompetent, but if you turn bad, you're arrested. So there is a jail in the spirit realm. You know what? Season 2 answered one of my questions in the episode Finding Zuzo. Orizaba kidnaps him and ties him over a hole of nothingness. If he falls in, he completely disappears. So I guess they don't trap the bad spirits? They're just able to roam around the spirit realm? Did I miss something?
Orizaba's lair must be that way.
They let her have a lair? If they're going to give evil spirits this much freedom, why are they not focused on rehabilitation and redemption? I mean, there's a whole branch called bad spirits. It makes me wonder if only humans are capable of change. Are there no spirit guides for other magical creatures? Are some magical creatures just destined for evil? I'm exhausted.
Vortex spell, ancient style!
In the pilot with Sofia, Elena and the Secret of Avalor, Mateo describes Azaluna the sunbird as a great healer who could undo any spell or curse. The statue of Azaluna that was underwater, I'll let Zuzo say it.
It's kind of like a hospital for magical mishaps.
It seems like many sunbirds had special abilities, but very few are still alive. I would have thought the sunbirds would be in the spirit realm with the Maruvians, but the remaining few are actually in Viastrea. The main sunbird Elena befriends is Kitamos, who is an oracle. He helps Elena learn more about her scepter powers. He also sees visions in the fire. But much like with the spirit guides, his help only goes so far, without Elena being the one to follow through with the plan. Much like Zuzo, Kitamos in his first appearance is very eager to leave.
That is a good question. And I hope you figure it out before you see her.
The weird part about this is both Zuzo and Kitamos critique humans for being in a hurry all of the time. But then this is how they act. And you know what? Maybe the princess is always in a hurry because she's the one that has to clean up every disaster. Every piece of magic is just a tool. The thing I respect most about the sunbirds and spirit guides is at least they're honest about how much they have to offer. I cannot believe I ever liked the Jaquins. Have I said that enough? Also, Kitamos is probably even more helpful than he's letting on because he gives Elena a special vase to capture an enemy, and behind him we see many of these jars.
Then you can bring her back to me for safekeeping.
It seems like he actually guards many evil spirits that were caught. I can't believe he's only in 7 episodes. In the episode A Tale of Two Scepters, we meet the other 3 sunbirds. They aren't as powerful as Kitamos, but they all help Elena learn how to use her magic. One part that really confused me is that the sunbirds can't see Chanuls.
Do we have to train your imaginary friend, too?
Oh, I'm not talking to myself. I can see my Chanul.
I would have expected ancient magic and spirit magic to overlap. Maybe Kitamos is so busy looking at the future he can't even see the past.
Wow.
All of this ancient magic introspection comes to a head during Elena's Season 3 power-up in the episode The Magic Within. The power within. The power within. Jaquins is the Maruvians' crystal forge. It's where they built all of the magical treasures we've seen throughout the series. The Well of Crystals is where this magic comes from. After Elena accidentally fell in this well, she could use her scepter without draining her energy, it can deflect spells, and most importantly, her emotions now have special powers connected to them. When she was happy to be alive, not only was she making everyone happy around her, but flowers were growing, and she brought this little piñata creature to life. This is such a fitting power for Elena because she is so empathetic. Her magic reflecting how she feels is so perfect for her journey. Later on, when my greatest enemy Esteban fell in that same well, his power is completely different. He gains the ability to teleport. Given that he runs away from all of his issues, instead of facing them head on, this is also a very fitting power for him. Oh, dude, that's why they call it the magic within. This ancient magic is always focused on learning more about yourself. But wait, there's more! Somehow. In the first day of rule, we meet the Noblins. They transform from dogs into these really creepy purple creatures.
Jesus Christ, is that a fucking
Goblin? Shiriki kidnapped them from their home to make gold for her. When Elena took back her kingdom, their prison bars disappeared. Now that the Noblins are free, they want to get home, so they steal the ships from the very people who would have been willing to help them if they just asked. Honest mistake, I guess, but I hate looking at them. Also, this is the type of magic where its addition doesn't really confuse me because it isn't really powerful. There's no real use for it. And plus, I would not blame them for not helping Avalor. They were the victims. They were imprisoned. Even if they were stronger, they are not obligated to help Avalor at all. Merimunda is an evil mother nature, a forest sprite who hates human-made structures. Buildings, roads, she wants to tear them all down. She was imprisoned in Viastrea, the realm of the Jaquins, and the villains freed her so easily. All they had to do was remove this jewel from a wall. The gate to Viastrea needs to be opened by a Jaquin, but if someone sneaks in, like in the realm of the Jaquin special, they have no additional security. No one was guarding where the evil creature was. All the Jaquins do is fail. The one thing they're good at is being transportation for more important characters, and they hate doing that. The one thing they're good at. The only good creature I hate more than the Jaquins are the Flaringos. We meet these giraffe-flamingo hybrids in the special Race for the Realm. They're great singers, their animal combo is fun, but holy shit, they are insensitive bitches. Elena is having PTSD, and she's rushing to get this magical item before the villains do, and the Flaringos are just like, have you tried chilling out and not being a bummer, dude? They helped clear her mind, but I hate lessons like this. Have you tried not being sad? It's easy. She was just face to face with her parents' murderer, who she thought was dead. Lay off. I was already mad at them because I don't vibe with their philosophy, but it gets even worse. They told Shiriki where Elena was.
They're up on their journey to Monte Grande Gara.
They said there's an evil sorceress on the loose. Yeah, so whatever you do not tell her where they're going. Yeah, we won't.
I don't know why the wiki labels them as good. Accidentally doing something bad still has its consequences. Their existence is a net negative. I know that's mean, but I mean it. We have the rock monsters, Chiroka and Girl Chiroka. Her name is no joke Chirika, and they made her pink. I already talked about this. They're the ones that had mood magic first. Before we get to my final thoughts, I have to mention the mermaids and shape-shifting river dolphins again. Not only so I could have the excuse to re-listen to the best villain song of all time, Art of the Steel.
We were up the river when you came to me, made an offer with a real deal.
But also, more importantly, I have to correct a mistake in my first video that I always cringe at. This humans versus sirenas. That's not how you say it, gringa.
Americans!
Sirena. Right? Sirena. I wish I could voice over an old video, but that's not even the most egregious mistake I make. Elena's grandparents were her mother's parents, and Elena's dad was the one who was born into royalty. I do not know why I thought her abuelo was the royal one. I accidentally spread misinformation and lies. But this has nothing to do with the magic, so we have to move on. I'm glad we cleared that up, though. That was really bothering me.
The verdict was asshole.
Sometimes loose ends aren't tied on purpose. I have a whole second channel video about this. It should be coming out tomorrow or the next day. But in this story, like I said, it feels like 1 or 2 lines would have cleared up everything. Are magical creatures just busy in their own realms, holding evil spirits back there? Well, Orizaba in the spirit realm and Merimonda in the realm of Jaquins proved that they're really not good at that. They both escaped. Also, oh my god, Orizaba and Merimonda, they would make such a power couple. Not really though. I mean, one blocks the sun and one needs sun because she's a plant creature. Ooh, they should be toxic exes. I cooked with that, but back on topic, I need to give credit where it's due. The theme song does establish why magic is all over the place. The lyric in the theme song that I'm talking about is myth and mystery everywhere. And myth is the perfect word to use because so much of mythology is magic that's only purpose is a lesson. It doesn't answer questions. It only lets you know there's a question to be answered. I will admit, it still annoys me when a creature is supposed to be helpful or hurtful and ends up just doing nothing. I complained about the finale enough in my first video, but good god, they hyped up these magical Maruvian villains so much, only for 1 out of the 4 to be an actual threat. I want to see a full flashback episode surrounding Maru. With all the magical instruments they had, how did they lose? They don't frame it as a loss though. They protected the world but gave up their lives to do so. At least I understand that Maru being a mystery is interesting. It's purposeful. Ancient magic shouldn't be that easy to grasp or understand. They said it. Myth and mystery everywhere. Doesn't change the fact that the finale was rushed. One of my favorite parts of this series was how Elena learned from her many failures. So a lot of these characters being of little help made sense. Elena had to fall so she can get back up. The storytellers definitely prioritized the friendship of the main 4 and how Elena healed from loss and betrayal. And I did love it, but as you saw from this video, they threw so much at us. It was fun to take a look back and wonder why these magical creatures are the way they are. Maybe the Jaquins are just selfish assholes. A lot of characters in Greek mythology are selfish assholes. Maybe Shiriki's rule encouraged more evil in the world, and that's why there were so many more evil sorcerers. I can and have thought of many explanations. Let me know if you have any more. Please leave it in a comment below, and be sure to tell me what other re-explores you want to see by taking a look through my lore playlist and seeing which ones need more attention. I'm definitely making a re-explore of Martha Speaks sometime 2026, so let me know if you're excited for that. Subscribe if you enjoyed. We are so close to 300,000 subscribers, which blows my mind! Thank you for everything, and have a great day. I do demand it. Bye!